Welcome to my channel where Appa steals his boss's entire office. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway, 2678. My father is a truck driver and has been driving trucks for over 40 years. He usually drives for a large transport company transporting goods all across the country. For the past 10 years, though, he has been employed by a small family-owned business driving mostly locally. He loves his job. The owners are great people, and most of the routes are pretty easy. The pay is good too. Recently, Dad was asked to go on a trip to Texas and pick up a load of steel for a customer. He was given a 20-hour window to pick up the goods. He gets there early, parks, goes into the office to check in, and is told to wait another hour because the paperwork is unready. No problem. He waits an hour and then he's told to wait another 2 hours because they still have to load the truck. So now it's been 3.5 hours and he's very annoyed. He asks if they gonna pay him for the extra time he spent here, and they tell him no. He's not getting paid for that time. He decides he's had enough. He's gonna sit out the rest of the 20-hour window, and if they don't get the paperwork done in the next 30 minutes, he's leaving without the shipment. He sits there waiting, and after 30 minutes, he leaves. When he calls the owner to tell him what happened, they start yelling at him. They tell him that he is supposed to wait as long as needed, and that he is supposed to make sure the paperwork is done before he leaves. Dad says that he waited longer than the 20-hour window that they gave him, and he was getting paid for this extra time. But the owner just keeps yelling at him and eventually hangs up. The next day, Dad gets called into the office by the owner. Dad thinks that they're going to apologize for yelling at him, but instead they fire him because he didn't complete his run. Dad goes home and tells my mom everything that happened. She's furious and tells him to get a lawyer and sue them. He says that he doesn't want to, but she's not having it. She tells him that he deserves better than this and that he shouldn't take this lying down. And so Dad files suit for wrongful termination and unpaid wages for the time that he spent waiting at the warehouse. My mom tells him that he should also file for unemployment while he's at it. He says that he doesn't think that's right, but she tells him that doesn't matter. She'd deal with the guilt later if it comes to that. The case goes to court, and Dad's lawyer hammers away at how long the company made him wait and how he was getting paid for that time. The judge sides with my dad and orders the company to pay him for the time he spent waiting at the warehouse, plus tips for the wrongful termination. Plus, the company has to pay for his lawyer fees. He even gets approved for unemployment. And our favorite part is that the owner comes up to my dad while the trial is going on and tries to bribe him to drop the suit. He offers him 10 grand to just go away and forget about it. Dad tells him no, and that he wants what he's owed. The owner freaks out and yells at him, but Dad stands his ground. What an idiot. You can't bribe someone after you took them to court. If anything, you should have bribed them before taking them to court. But hey, the OP's dad got his money, so I guess it worked out for him. But yeah, Op's mom sounds like a badass. Good for her. I love it when people stand up for themselves. That's actually a really good piece of advice. If you're ever in a situation where you feel like you're being taken advantage of, standing up for yourself might be the best option. And sometimes standing up for yourself means hiring a lawyer. Yeah, that feels good. Our next Reddit post is from 999 Dragon. This happened to my husband. My husband had a boss who shall be known as Mike. Mike was in his mid-30s, never married, lived with his parents, and drove a car that he probably couldn't afford. He was extremely controlling and power-hungry, and was notorious for his terrible attitude towards employees. He was always yelling at everyone, often cursing them out and demeaning them for little to no reason other than to assert dominance. He also berated people for leaving work early, even if they'd been given permission to leave, or if they'd been working overtime. He would call people into his office and yell at them for leaving. Even once he forced a girl to stay late because he wanted her to drive him home. It got to the point where people started calling him Dr. Doom because he was always yelling and cursing about how bad things were and how no one could do anything right. One guy even called him Lord Voldemort because he was such a power-hungry control freak. My husband hated Mike and knew that he was just a horrible person. He once brought in some donuts, and Mike took them all, saying that he was watching his weight and that everyone else should do the same. He said that he needed to be able to trust his employees to do their jobs without stuffing their faces all the time. He once fired someone on the spot for falling asleep at their desk. When the guy asked why, Mike said that it meant he lacked commitment to his work. Anyway, fast forward a few years. Mike is still there and my husband is still there. However, the workplace environment has changed. Many of the employees from the original team have left due to Mike's antics, and new people have joined the staff who don't put up with his crap. One day, my husband and a couple of others walked in on Mike screaming at one of the newer female employees. Normally he would have done this in private, but he was so angry that he didn't care where he did it. The girl calmly responded to him and then stopped talking. She just looked at him. He kept screaming at her for a few seconds, and then she finally spoke. She said, "I am listening to you," and Mike was stunned. He didn't know what to say. He stammered for a moment and then just walked away. After he left, my husband and the others asked the girl what had happened. She just shrugged and said that Mike had asked her to do something that she wasn't comfortable with. It turned out that Mike had asked her to move some boxes in the warehouse, and she refused. He told her that she needed to do it because he needed the boxes moved. She told him that she would be happy to do it during work hours, but she didn't feel comfortable moving boxes in the middle of the night. Mike got mad and started yelling at her, and that's when the conversation my husband walked in on happened. Mike was apparently fired the next day for creating a hostile work environment. We don't know exactly what happened after my husband walked in, but we assume that she just stood there until he left. The girl stayed at the company for a while and eventually left for a better opportunity. She still works in the field and is doing well. Mike tried to get a new job at a different facility, but after checking references, they found out about all the complaints against him and didn't hire him. He's still looking for a job, but he's getting older and fewer companies are willing to take a chance on him. Karma is a wonderful thing. I loved the little detail that you added about Mike being unable to speak once the girl stopped speaking to him. It's almost like you could hear the gears grinding in his head, trying to figure out what to say. That was my channel. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.